Hello and welcome everyone to this Officer Jumpstart workshop. Even though it's a virtual version, we hope to give you the best opportunity to gain as much from this workshop as you possibly can.
So during this workshop, we'll be learning how to navigate in a post-lockdown world, since as many of your chapters experienced last year, it was hard to learn how to run a chapter for HOSA when people weren't either interested or it was hard to have those effective volunteer opportunities or just learn how you were supposed to be holding your HOSA chapter meetings when people were either hybrid or in person or virtual.
Absolutely. So we'll get started with the presentation here by getting to know us.
So my name is Babisha Turi, which is the picture on the top left corner, and I'm so proud to be serving as your Georgia HOSA Vice President of Innovation. I'm a rising senior at Milton High School, and one fun fact about myself is that my favorite ice cream flavor is mint chocolate chip.
She has very good taste. My name is Rima Chande, and I am very glad to be serving you as your Georgia HOSA State President. I'm currently a freshman at Mercer University, and my favorite ice cream flavor is pistachio, so we both like the green ice creams. So the plan for the workshop today is to first break the ice using a quick Kahoot that you can play with your chapter, and then connect the efforts that you contribute to your chapter with HOSA's overall mission statement and goals. We'll then go through the workings of a team and understand how the bonds that you make are realistic when you evaluate strengths and weaknesses. Finally, we'll finish up by discussing the contributions you can make to your members this year with a well-bonded officer team.
So now it's time to test your skills. If you want to pause the video right now and join the Kahoot link and play it with your own chapter, that would be amazing. The Kahoot discusses examples of teamwork in the healthcare field, and I feel like it's pretty interesting since some of the answer choices are not what you would expect. So I hope you've played the Kahoot and you've enjoyed learning about teamwork in the healthcare field. And I would like to open this discussion among your entire officer chapter. Essentially, what did the Kahoot get you thinking about, and how did it change the way you thought about healthcare in the medical professional field?
You can discuss with your chapter and pause it here and then come back. So debriefing on why we did that Kahoot and discussion, the major moral and message behind that was that teamwork is a vital part of leadership. And what you'll notice is that healthcare is the same way. We say that it's 24/7 teamwork because it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then some. And this also happens to be the same case with HOSA, and especially your role in an officer team. So in healthcare, you're working with physicians, nurses, assistants, as you saw in the Kahoot. And then in HOSA, you're working with you and the members on your team, as well as the members in your chapter. So your goal is, rather than treating patients, it's serving your members in the best possible way that you can. So teamwork is vital, and we want to make sure that you know that what you're learning now is going to be an essential part of your future occupation.
So, how does this connect with HOSA?
We'll take a look at a video from the state officers to show how teamwork has affected them in their HOSA journeys.
Hey, my name is Sahil Sood, and I've been a HOSA member for almost 5 years now. And in that time, I've had the opportunity to serve in multiple leadership roles within the club. As such, I've garnered extensive experience on working in teams and collaborating well. And if there's one takeaway that HOSA has helped me learn, it's that communication is absolutely key. You need to work with your team members and openly communicate with them, even if you don't like them on a personal level, to facilitate the production of a well-polished final product and foster as much collaboration as possible.
Hello everyone, and thank you all so much for attending Officer Jumpstart. My name is Sriya, and I proudly serve you as your state president-elect. When I think of HOSA, I can't help but remember all of the people that have guided me throughout my HOSA journey. From officer teams to advisors, collaborating with the HOSA community is what has given me the opportunity to stand in front of you all today and express my passion for healthcare and my preparation towards becoming a future healthcare professional.
Hi Georgia HOSA officers, it's Fabi, and my connection to HOSA stems from all of the service opportunities that we try to incorporate within our chapter, especially during my sophomore year before COVID. Community-wise, they definitely helped to introduce more people to HOSA if they didn't already know what it is. And from an officer perspective, it was also nice to see a lot of members show up and help out in events like these, since they usually have very good outcomes. And we just got to come together for a common purpose, especially when it's a healthcare related event that deeply impacts our community. So that would be my suggestion, especially in a post-lockdown year.
Hey everyone, my name is Nika Shakastavan and I'm your North Region representative. Through working with various teams in HOSA, one very important takeaway that I've learned is that you should never ever assume that everyone understands, whether it be talking about dates, maybe a plan, or something even as simple as attendance. You always want to make sure that everyone confirms that they understand what's going on. The same thing can be applied to places such as work outside of HOSA. Let's say you take someone's shift for your job. You want to make sure your boss knows. You can't just assume that they understand what's going on. That way, the responsibility is in the right place and everything runs efficiently.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiara G, and I am your region representative for Georgia HOSA Regions 3 and 6. When I first became a chapter officer, I was immediately being challenged to use my communication and critical thinking skills to effectively and efficiently work with my team. If I hadn't begun working on those skills early on, I would not be equipped to work with others with different opinions and ideas, let alone lead on the state level.
So I hope you all enjoyed that little video of the state officers discussing how HOSA has positively impacted both their teamwork and collaboration skills. Similarly, HOSA can help you as well when you are working with your team. We've been talking about teamwork for some time now, but I think it's important that we define what teamwork really is. Teamwork is a group of people working together towards a common goal in order to achieve their necessary outcome in a collaborative and efficient way, which applies to all of us since we're all here together to work together and be efficient in our HOSA chapters, making sure that our HOSA members have the best possible year. So this can work in a multitude of ways. It can be used to fight low attendance and recruitment, as well as finding effective volunteer opportunities for HOSA members. One person cannot find every single volunteer opportunity a chapter decides to do, since one person doesn't have the time, skills, effort, or resources necessary to do so. So it's important to utilize your entire team and their vast amount of resources, time, knowledge, and own personal experiences that can play into finding these effective volunteer opportunities. Similarly, it can also be used to fight the low attendance and recruitment many chapters faced last year. So, you can divide up your team and have them conquer the student body population in order to find prospective students that are interested in HOSA. For example, if you have underclassmen as part of your HOSA chapter team, you can have them talk to their own peers and have them create personal connections with these students, which will cause these students be more interested in HOSA because they have that personal connection instead of just having the entire HOSA team come and approach them. So utilizing that team is so important during this year because we need to find all these effective volunteer opportunities and get more people interested in HOSA again so we can regain what it was like in previous years.
Absolutely. So the year that was 2020 has been very difficult, but what we need to do is bond in a very constructive way. So you might be thinking, officer bonding, isn't that like going on a hike with your officer team, doing an escape room? All of that is bonding, but it's very fun and it's easy. It's very easy to do the fun work, the easy work, the entertaining work, but doing the work that's challenging is beneficial. So I encourage you to do the challenging work of identifying your strengths and weaknesses. Find areas in which your chapter officers are strong and areas in which they're weak. For example, if your chapter officer absolutely excels at creating visuals, maybe task them with creating the PowerPoints and delegate based on strengths. And going along with that, you can support based on weaknesses. So if someone is very nervous to go into a presentation, support based on that weakness. So if you're very confident or you're very prepared, support that person who's nervous. So looking at people's areas in which they might not be able to excel and then delegate the tasks to people who do excel at them. This creates high efficiency within your chapter and it allows your club duties to be streamlined and easy. So take a second and evaluate your strengths and weaknesses as a chapter officer team. So, like I said, we're going to get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses as a group. And on the next slide, you will see a list of positions and their typical strengths and weaknesses. And what you will do, not necessarily with colored dots, but with any designated item you would like to use, is write your name and then the position that most correlates with you. So taking a look at the strengths and weaknesses, we can see what might correlate most with us. For example, if I'm the president and I correlate more with the strengths and weaknesses of historian reporter, I would write my name with that.
And remember to discuss with your entire officer team, since this is a team bonding exercise, and I hope it allows you to see where certain officers are excelling in and where they might need just a little bit more help in. And remember, these characteristics are just generalized versions, so they don't have to describe who you are as an officer. Lastly, if you don't identify with the same position you actually are, so for example, you are vice president, but you identify with treasurer, take the strengths of treasurer of being trustworthy and methodical and put them into your role as vice president so you can become a better officer for your HOSA members.
Absolutely. You can contain a multitude of traits and still be an exceptional officer.
So now that we've created these effective bonds between the officer team, we need to transfer them to members and make sure that we are contributing to them. So as you all know, COVID made it incredibly hard to recruit new members for HOSA chapters. That's why this year, membership is super important. We need to stress and put significance on membership, especially during the beginning of the year, since that is when students are looking at club fairs and finding out what interests them. I think it's important to find opportunities that are specific to your areas and finding things that HOSA members can see they have a direct positive impact on, since they can see the direct impact they're having on their local community and the people that they live next to. So remember to find opportunities that are both virtual and in person that both still have direct impacts on where they live.
Now, wrapping up the workshop, we're going to discuss some last details and reminders, but we hope that you learned a lot about teamwork from this workshop and you feel closer to your officer team now that you've watched this presentation. Even though our time here is limited, it is important. And what we want to talk about next is, along with the situational and environmental obstacles that was the last year with the pandemic, we'll be discussing our personal obstacles.
So my biggest personal obstacle was facing anxiety when applying to be an officer, since it was hard for me to talk in front of new people and on stages. So being able to overcome that was definitely something I had to go through, but I think it's important that I acknowledge it and talk to you all about it. So if you are feeling that way, you can reach out to me when you do want to apply for those officer positions and hopefully a state position this year.
Absolutely. And I think overcoming anxiety is such an inspirational story, and I applaud Bhavishu for being able to share that. And obviously, if you have any questions or concerns about that, please do come and ask us. We want you to be able to approach us about anything you might need. One of the challenges that I faced was reformatting conferences during 2020 and managing that in my term as president-elect. It taught me really how to be flexible and how to make the most of a situation regardless of what constraints it put on what I was able to accomplish. In fact, it trained me to look at the silver linings in everything, and I hope that you can do the same, because we all got through COVID-19 somehow, and we made sure that we were successful while we did. So take that experience of the last year and use it as something that motivates you rather than makes you concerned or anxious about the future.
So we've been talking about team bonding, effective volunteer opportunities, and overcoming obstacles, but I think it's also important to provide you with the resources so that in the future you can utilize these web links to help solve any problems that you face within your chapter officer team.
Absolutely. Now let's debrief really quickly. Make sure that you discuss what you learned today with your chapter officer team. If you want to pause this presentation and go do that, please do now. Now that we've discussed what we've learned, we're going to go over any questions that you might have via contacting us through DM at Georgia HOSA on our Instagram. We'll reply to those DMs as soon as we possibly can, but please let us know if you have any questions.
I also have my Instagram handle and my email at vp.innovation@georgiahosa.org. So if you do want to contact me about any questions, comments, doubts, concerns that you may have during this year, please do. Additionally, if you are feeling that anxious, nervous feelings while applying for any role or officer position that you have, please feel free to contact me. I would love to help you.
Absolutely. Definitely contact us. My Instagram is @Rimachande and my email is president@georgiahosa.org. So make sure that you contact me if you have any questions about conferences, applying for a state executive council position, applying for a region representative position, or anything HOSA related at all. You can also get to know other HOSA members a little better by using the HOSA Slack. You can join by going to tinyurl.com/Georgia or by going to tinyurl.com/HOSA Slack, and you can join your region channel in order to communicate and collaborate on events with chapters in your region. Finally, we would love to visit your chapter as a state officer team. Team 22 misses seeing all of our members in person, and we cherish every opportunity we get to do so. So you can go to georgiahosa.card.co, where you will find a variety of different quick links, including the chapter visit request form. This is where you can put in a request to have a state officer visit your chapter, but just specify the date, time, location of your chapter visit, and we would love to be there. Finally, thank you so much for coming to this workshop.
And lastly, we have the QR code for this presentation. So if you scan this, you'll have access to the entire presentation, the video it includes, and all the resources links. So if you ever are struggling and you want to come back to this presentation, you can do so. So if you want to scan the QR code, please do so now.
We hope that this has left you with a lot of motivation and inspiration for the year ahead. We wish you the best of luck, and remember, your Team 22 State Officer team is always here to help.
Thank you for coming to Virtual Officer Jumpstart 2021. Aren't we Team 21?